A protest over the rising cost of living placed MENA on the social media trends this week. The mass protest, which is said to have rattled the federal government somewhat, saw some individuals get arrested and partly led the government to give marching orders for relevant agencies to work out measures by which skyrocketing food prices can be checked. No, the drama at the Grammys has not ended, at least not in Nigeria, where many still believe Nigerian singers were robbed of at least one crown on the night of the 66th Grammy Awards. The debate made many call for the return of the Headies, even as it added more fuel to the intensity of the game between the Super Eagles of Nigeria and the Bafana Bafana of South Africa. Coming just after the Grammys, the semi-finals between South Africa and Nigeria indeed took another dimension, as Nigerians would only settle for a victory, especially after losing the Grammys to South African singer Tyla in the Best African Music Performance category over Burna Boy and David O. The victory was indeed some kind of redemption, and Nigerians could not hold back their joy. In a shocking turn of events, a helicopter with 6 people on board crashed in the Mojave Desert near the California-Nevada border Friday night, and this became more tragic for Nigerians when news broke that Herbert Wigwe, the esteemed CEO of Access Holdings, died in the helicopter crash alongside his beloved wife, child, and business partner, Bimbo Ogunbanjo. And the gloom continued for Nigeria, even as the Super Eagles lost to the Elephants of Ivory Coast. What started off as a game full of hope, with Nigeria scoring first, soon turned sour as the Elephants trampled over the Eagles from the midfield to attack, causing Nigeria to concede 2 fantastic goals that saw the African host nation lift the cup for a third time, having previously been crowned champions in 1992 and 2015.
Yeah, it's been a very somber weekend for Nigerians, even as we mourn the tragic loss of an icon in the person of Herbert Wigwe, the esteemed CEO of Access Holdings, who died alongside his beloved wife, a son, and his business partner, Bimbo Ogunbanjo, in a devastating helicopter crash. Our hearts goes out to the loved ones and the entire nation as we collectively grieve the profound loss. The game between Nigeria and Ivory Coast was hoped to be a reason for Nigerians to smile a bit, over the weekend. However, that was not to be. It's really even affecting myself today, as the Elephants trampled triumphantly over the Eagles, bringing the AFCON 2023 to a successful end, where history was made in the sense that the host won the tournament. It is in the light of this event that we're just going to be looking at what went down at the Soccer Fiesta, that we would also be talking about how much technology played a role, in that beautiful game that we saw. It is at this juncture that I'm going to be telling you that we are going to be looking at the VAR especially. VAR had a lot of roles to play, especially in the games that had to do with Nigeria. You remember Victor Osimhen? We lost some lives even after VAR overturned some of the things that we thought were supposed to be just our goals, and we're just rejoicing. Those are some of the things we're going to be looking at on the show today. We have a spotlight. I'm sure we have a spotlight that has that place where Osimhen was already jubilating. Nigerians were already, speaking and shouting and dancing only to have the referee go and, when you see this, you are afraid that something is going to be overturned. Those are some of the things we're going to be looking at today. We have our general top 5 videos, which we are aligned for you. Next thing we're going to go into is those top 5 videos. And after we come back from those top 5 videos for the week today, we will be looking straight at the issue of VAR and the beautiful game of football, especially as it comes to the AFCON 2023. Don't go away. We have something loaded for you. Stay with us.
During Jonathan era, Nigerians were buying a bag of rice at 7,500 naira. Today, the bag of rice is costing nothing less than 60 to 75,000 naira.
We begin this week's most viewed videos countdown with an interview in which a chieftain of the Labour Party opined that the Tinubu-led federal government is full of gimmicks, not being completely honest with the people.
Promising palliative. That palliative, as we speak today, majority of Nigerians may not have even received a single dime.
Coming fourth place in our countdown this week is a clip in which former Super Eagles captain and goalkeeper Vincent Enyama tells present Super Eagles #1 Stanley Wambali to keep giving his best as to write his name in the annals of contemporary Nigerian football history.
He's done well. He's created a niche for himself in that team. He's created a spot for himself. He's done so well. It's not about him being my clone, but it's about him standing up, when we all needed him. When we needed a replacement, when we needed someone to fit in the shoes, someone to stand in the gap, he came in and he did so well.
Next on the countdown is a video in which the Vice President of Nigeria, Kashim Shettima, joined the Super Eagles to celebrate their semi-final victory against the Bafana Bafana of South Africa.
I'll not only give my assessment now, I'll make prediction like pastors for the next 3 years and 10 months that is left for the administration, that nothing much will change for Nigerian people.
In second place this week, we have an interview in which Seun Kuti, Nigerian musician, singer, and the youngest son of Afrobeat pioneer Fela Kuti, opined that with the present government and at the rate things are going, a positive turnaround for the nation seems almost impossible.
So if you're a robotics engineer, rocket scientist, rocket engineer in Nigeria, what is your hope if you don't run away from the country? Because there's no investment.
At the top spot this week is a video in which the Super Eagles pledged to win the African Cup of Nations as part of their tribute to those who lost their lives while watching the semi-finals against South Africa. Sadly, that promise was not kept. Unfortunately, there are no reports of deaths following the loss to host nation Ivory Coast in the final match.
And inshallah on Sunday, we're going to lift that trophy for them, for our own country.
All right, thank you for staying with us. I am Sunes Nathaniel, and thank you for joining Channels Beam. Like I said, we are going to be speaking about the use of VAR technology in the just concluded AFCON 2023. Joining me to speak about this issue, this very timely issue, is Pelumi Abiara, who happens to be a football administrator and serves currently as the secretary of Greenlock FC here in the Federal Capital Territory. Pelumi, it's a pleasure having you here today.
It's my pleasure to be on the program this beautiful Monday afternoon. All
right, let's begin by asking you generally, how would you rate the AFCON 2023?
Brilliant, wonderful organization. It also falls at a time where I've been doing a bit of study on event management, and what I've seen on the African continent by the AFCON is just beautiful. It's a standard for our international competitions, should be heard. It shows how much progress we have made on the African continent. It's been everywhere. People are talking about it, the quality of officiating, the organization, the logistics. It's just been wonderful. And media-wise, it's a beautiful success.
All right, media-wise, it's a beautiful success. Let's go to the media. In fact, it's good you said that. How much did the media play into the beauty of this game, this period?
I think what CAF did right was to take it away from the just television, TV, blogging, bringing in influencers to also have their say. There was a bit of issue with the AIPS coming up to say they shouldn't have been given accreditation, but they added a whole lot of value to it. We are in a generation where you are appealing to these young folks, and who they listen to are the influencers, are the content generated by the influencers. The media has its direction, its perspective of viewing competitions, viewing events, but the influencers, there's a way they approach these things, and that is what has added to it. The CAF online TikTok is wonderful. You see thousands of views.
Even on Instagram.
That is one of the success of the AFCON. Now, it has pushed it to the global audience, and that is what we want. Before this tournament, there was issue of players being released from their club sites to join the nation. We know what happened with the Cameroonian goalkeeper Onana, who came in by private jet. Now there is more respect for the African Cup of Nations because of the organization and the quality that we have seen at the just concluded AFCON 2023 in Cote d'Ivoire.
That's great. That's great. Okay, so we're talking VAR now. How has the introduction of VAR, helped or elevated the standard in which AFCON is being viewed, not just on the African continent, but the world in general? In fact, there are people who are saying that VAR used in Africa is way better than the way it's even operated at the club level over there in Europe. What do you think?
Well, Jose Mourinho, Gary Neville, these are names that you can reckon with in the world of football in Europe because of the success they've achieved. And if they've come out to say that Africa has set the standard for the use, this Africa Cup of Nations has shown us what VAR is supposed to be. Assist the referees, cut down mistakes that the referees might have made, and bring in more fairness to the game, and that is what we have seen. No contentious decisions. Beautiful. We are all proud of what we've seen with.
So you said no contentious decisions. I mean, my next question was going to be: were there decisions which you did not? We can smile now, but yesterday I wasn't smiling. The day when our decision for the goal was overturned, I wasn't smiling. So are you saying there are no decisions within the whole tournament that we could look at and be like, the referee didn't need to go to VAR for that?
Well, the game is not perfect. Refereeing is not perfect. And at the end of the day, when you have the technology, there are still people behind it who direct its usage. And even the laws of the game, that is why they change the laws of the game every time, because they think you could be better this way. And there are some decisions that, since we have football, and as long as football would exist, there will be 50-50 decisions.
All right.
Let's say, for example, the penalty.
I would come back to that,
okay,
because you have to speak on that 50-50 decisions. All right, we're going to be taking a break right now, and when we come back, we'll be taking a deeper dive into Nigerian football, actually, and how VAR coming into the continent can help elevate the standard in which we are playing. Don't go away. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Channels Beam, coming to you live from our studio in Abuja. Pelumi Abiara is still our guest, and we are reviewing the value that VAR added to the game, the AFCON 23. Pelumi, you were talking about the 50-50 penalty issue, if I'm not mistaken. That's what you were trying to speak about. Let's start from there.
All right. First, you could argue that Alassane Yusuf, who is our midfielder, went for the ball, but innocuously struck the leg of the South African player, but it was in the box. There was contact. Was it malicious? That's another question. So these are questions that the referees, the officials, the game would have to make a decision on. And I think why we are a bit sad about that is because it also resulted in the cancellation
of our own goal,
of our own goal, which would have sealed the game at that time. If we had not won on penalties, it would have been a major talking point. But some of these things exist. We won. If it had gone in our own way too, would be happy, would celebrate it. So you can understand why the referees gave it. And if they had not given it, you would also understand why. But at the end of the day, it was given. The players, you could see, one of the metrics that you can use to judge some actions on the field of play is the reactions of the players to it.
True.
He knew there was contact, and there wasn't much of a brouhaha about it because he knew there was actually contact and it happened. So some of these things would happen. And like I said earlier, the VAR is here to assist, not to re-referee the game.
All right.
So the decision still goes down to the officials, especially the central referee, to decide this is the decision I'm going with. And unfortunately, it didn't go in favor of Nigeria, but yet still follows the laws of the game.
Okay, so now let's go into the game proper. Looking at the standard of play from the Super Eagles' point of view, how would you rate this team? And I mean, in all fairness, how would you rate this team? And afterwards, we will go back into the fact that you are embedded within the NFF. How do we see, using more technology, imbibing, even VAR for our league? How would that help? Let's go have that conversation.
Or should we start with the league
from the team?
The team, yeah. Yes, the team beat expectation. You and I, every Nigerian, even the players going into the game, I'm not holding brief for anybody and I'm not making a suggestive statement right now, but we didn't have this much high expectations going into the tournament, especially considering that we were prone to conceding the first goals, coming back, the play was not fluid, we're not satisfied with what we were seeing. We have abundance of talent, but we didn't have the perfect system to bring all of this talent together. We are relying on individual brilliancies. But going into this tournament, we saw a different shift. We saw a defensive resilience, we saw focus, we saw concentration, but how long will this take us? Defenses win championships, but you have to also score more goals than your opponent. That is exactly what happened yesterday. What we saw yesterday was how far the system we had could carry us. If Al-Hassan had not been injured, probably we would not see the midfield of Iwobi and Onyeka, which worked very well. And they were also beat, I think we could have done better. Osimhen was isolated up front. Yes, he's Eshin. He's a soldier. He's relentless.
Eshin is the horse.
Yes, he's relentless, and he was doing the job, but he tired out. He was injured. He had a burnout. How could someone have supported him more to do all of the pressing? Maybe he would have been able to take his... Yes, he missed the most chances in this AFCON, most big chances. 5 could have been as a result of being tired of being worked out before,
fighting up front.
Getting the chance. Does he have the calmness to now put it at the back of the net? These are the questions you'd have asked. So the Super Eagles beat expectation. I am proud of them. We are proud of them, but we could have done a whole lot better. We went 1 goal up. We know that the Ivorians, in the 2 previous games before our game, they also went behind before they came back. How could we have managed that? Did we have that information? Did we have analysts talking to the coaches or to the head coach about, we have scored? These people consider...
They're like comeback kings.
They can come back. What are we doing to manage the game? We saw something close to the semblance of football when we had Iheanacho coming and we were more fluid when they're attacking. Why did we not try that in the first place?
Earlier.
Yes, we want to defend, we reduce our positions to few SGs, but we still concede goals from outside of the 18. We let our opponents shoot at our goal.
All right, a lot of the talk about the field. Now let's talk about tech. How can tech help improve the standard of our own game? You see, the goalkeeper for Nigeria is coming from a South African league that is so very standardized, right? So how can we imbibe some of this tech? How can we imbibe some of these things that you've even talked about, social media and all that? How can we imbibe it even in the Nigerian league to help grow our league?
A deliberate investment, and at this point I really want to say kudos. I really want to appreciate the NPFL reporters who have been doing so much without getting paid from any club administrator. They are doing it because of the passion they have, and I think we don't celebrate them enough. Some of them travel long distances on the road just to give us content. Some of them do statistics without having the technology. Now going to the technology. If we have sufficient technology, we have data, performance, analytics can be done. We just have to be deliberate with our investment. The league has to sit down and develop a roadmap on what we want to do with technology. And obviously, this includes the media. We want to sell this thing to the people. We want the people to see that this is ours. And the only way you can do that is to let them see it, put it at their table. The smartphone is everywhere with everybody right now. Let them have access to it. And it comes with investment. The quality cameras that you want to use, the technology is not cheap. Yes, it makes it better, but it's not cheap. So if we have investors who are doing this, kudos to private clubs who are trying to get some things done, but we still have a large number of state government-owned clubs in the NPFL, in the Nigeria National League. And of course, we have a whole lot of youth football teams in the third tier, which is the nationwide League One. If we can be deliberate about getting this technology, it could be a joint effort. That's why I said we need to develop a roadmap. We can't do it alone. It's a gradual process. We should not make it a competition. Yes, we want to compete on the field of play, but there has to be a collaboration. Something happened with basketball in Argentina some time ago, where the club owners had to come together. Like, this is what we want to do with basketball in Argentina. We want to take it to the next level. Yet, I want to win the championship. You want to win the championship. But if we want to make proper money of basketball in our nation, we have to come together and work on the media.
True.
And that is what they did. They came up with we have an association of basketball club owners. It's not registered for any profit making, but the essence, the end goal is to sell this thing better. And before you know it, everybody was benefiting, the league grew. So it has to start with a roadmap where everybody can now bring resources together. This is what we need, gather expertise, then train people. Training is very important. The success of the VAR in the AFCON did not just happen overnight. We've seen conscious effort by CAF to train the referees. There are a whole lot. Nigerian referees were not present at the AFCON.
Yeah, but sadly, there have been registered FIFA referees from Nigeria. I mean, last year or so, there were like 30 of them. What happened?
The head of CAF referee said something. He said Nigerian referees are good, but on the continent, they want the best. They have to improve themselves. We need to train them more. The under-17 female team of Nigeria defeated Central African Republic just last Friday, and something intrigued me about the referees who took charge of that game. They were young ladies too. We need to catch them young. It's about training. It's about efforts to train, and the president of the Nigeria Football Federation has said so much about this. We are just waiting to see them manifest.
Implementation.
Yes, it's training. If you have all of the gadgets as beautiful as they are, and you don't have people to operate them, then there will be faults. You won't get the best out of them. So while we develop the roadmap, that will also include training and retraining, continuous training, and technology. The technology you have today
keeps advancing.
Gets better. You use a mobile phone. At every time, it tells you to upgrade your application. So that is what it is. So whatever you think that you know today will get better before the end of today or tomorrow, or somebody else is developing something that is an improvement on that. So we need to be ready to invest on this technology and training our system on the usage of this technology.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's the most we can take right now. I mean, it's been very, very exciting. I wish we could talk so much more. I mean, there are things that we can talk as much as even how many, local-based players were in the national team and how it would have worked out and all that. Thank you very much. I think
the Nigerian football ecosystem is a continuous conversation because we need to continually remind ourselves where we are so that we can have a focus on where we are going, so that we can, like I said, if we are retraining, we just begin to, okay, what is it we can tweak again to get better? And I'm sure we are on a path. I believe that will lead us to a better
future. Thank you very much. That's where we are gonna wrap it up for today. I think it's been a very, very informative one. It's one that has really dug deep into what the future of Nigerian football can be. And well, till I come your way next week, I'm Soonest Nathaniel. I want you to remember that we can imbibe sportsmanship and all that camaraderie that we saw, all that joining together, the whole nation coming together to support. If we continue on that path, we'll soar very high like the Super Eagles and soar even way beyond, touching the sky to the amazement of the world in general. Thank you very much for joining us. Bye for now.